I think it's only right to give you fair warning that you are about to hear some good things about St. Louis. We thought it a good way to start off the new year. We've been holding discussions along with St. Louis Magazine and Greater St. Louis Inc. with different groups of people to talk about where we live, where they live. We call it Better in St. Louis. And at one of those get-togethers, St. Louis Magazine editor and Donniebrooker Sarah Fenske sat down with some people who had moved here not knowing exactly what they were going to find.
I think coming here, I agree with everybody else. Like, I didn't know there was so much stuff to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's very cool. There's a lot of things to do. I'm always finding myself going out with my friends on the weekends. There's always a bunch of new restaurants to try, which I didn't realize St. Louis was such a foodie town.
So coming from Iowa, St. Louis is like one of those just bright and shiny cities. I'm from small town. We have cornfields, and going to barn parties is what we did as teenagers. Yeah. The cow tipping is a thing. Like, yeah, it really is a thing.
I know it's just a movie.
So, there's you have St. Louis, the city, the bright lights and all of those things. And so, I mean, it's so contrasted from where I'm from in Iowa.
It's so funny because I actually have the opposite. Like, moving here, it's kind of like moving to the country for me. Because coming from New York, I'm so used to just like the bigger city, tall buildings, and just the massive crowd of people. That was just like my norm. But what I do appreciate about here is that it has allowed me to slow down my pace. Like, it's the total opposite effect. Like, I just feel like I have more time with my daughter. I'm able to have a better work-life balance here.
You have access to everything. It's not the hugest city in the world, and that's perfect for me because, I still get that big city vibe, but it's not as huge as, as a New York.
But this is nice because everything is what we joke, 15, 20 minutes away by car.
There are so many big city amenities that St. Louis offers, and that's new to me, and it's very exciting and is a really big reason as to why I'm still here.
Yeah.
I also appreciate that, I have children, I have 4 children. And so, there's so many things to do that are free.
But I think for me, the biggest key difference coming directly from Northern California to St. Louis is cost of living.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference. This is a big reason why I was able to kind of convince a lot of the company that I was working for at the time to let us set up shop here. And for me, I'm a plant scientist by training. And this is a huge region for plant scientists, for agriculture, for ag tech. So for me, this is kind of where we all come. There's a running joke in the plant sciences that at some point your career will come through St. Louis just because there's so many opportunities and jobs here.
A lot of people told me, listen, St. Louis has crime. I said, so do we. Yeah. Right? We're from a big city. I'm from New York. I was like, so we deal with that all the time.
I've lived in big cities my whole life. Big crime rate's not new to me.
Yeah.
So that didn't really bother me. It didn't affect me. I know that exists in all cities in different ways, different capacities.
So I didn't hear about crime from here. Or in Iowa, I didn't hear about those things. I didn't hear great things, but I didn't hear bad things. I just didn't really hear much. Yeah. And so, I knew there was an arch. I knew that, and really that was about it. That's the only impression that I had of St. Louis prior to moving here.
I think at least from the folks that I've talked to that come from bigger cities or back in California, Midwest is a flyover. There's not a lot there, quote unquote. And I'm like, nah, man, there's stuff here. This is a cool spot. There's a lot of things to do. I think for me also, it's the cultural aspect. So yeah, St. Louis is, we've talked about it, incredibly diverse. It's got a lot of options for things to do. It's very family friendly.
Here, it's so nice to meet people from all different cultures and to be able to learn too through the experiences that St. Louis provides throughout the county.
So I think the one thing I do tell people is that St. Louis is not the city you kind of think it is.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I do miss the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
And I do get homesick. So sometimes, I do have to take a trip to New York just to kind of get my fix in. And then I come back and then I'm like, okay, I could breathe again.
But it's similar in a way too, because, if you go just outside of the city, you have all the rural areas and things like that. So me coming from Iowa, like I still get my piece of home. You just have to travel about 20 miles to see it.
So yeah, I think all in all, positive. I'll say one of the things I am not used to is if I go into the city as opposed to the county, I cannot parallel park. This is a fatal flaw for me. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, where you don't have to parallel park ever. And so I never learned. I'm still slowly learning. It's very difficult to learn on the fly.
Yeah.
But
We're going to have to give you a tutorial for that.
that would be great.
Yeah.
If somebody could teach me how to parallel park, that would be